Hey everyone, I'm still here. It's been a while, almost a year actually. So uh, there's a lot to cover, and I don't think I'll be doing it all in one video because I will literally bore you to death. Uh, so in this video, I'll just reintroduce myself to you, as it were, and just bring you up to speed with a high level overview of what's been going on in 2025. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. If you're new here, I'm Elton, a 50-something-year-old undertaking a long-term photography project in my 1996 Heimer. So you can expect to see travel photography, and video from historical sites that I visit, landscape and nature photography, wildlife and animal photography from around my travels, and also video tutorials, camera gear reviews, and hints and tips of van life and long-term travel. So please do join me and hit that subscribe button. So the main thing, besides my hair, which is another story. So I've got newly installed dreadlocks going on here, which is basically something I wanted to do since my teen years, but never got around to it, just because where I was in South Africa during my school years, we had corporal punishment essentially. So if your hair touched your ear or on the side, or if it touched your eyebrow in the front, you, as a boy, you got caned with a cane stick, which was very much exciting. And all that kind of thing. I just pretty much kept my hair shaven for the rest of my adult life. It's I'm not going to go into too much detail about the hair because, as I said, there's too much to talk about. It is what it is for now, and you'll see the journey as my videos continue over the years. But as for now, they're about 5 months old or something, so they're still infants and very fuzzy, which is driving me insane.
Lewis! 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 Mom! 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 Mommy! 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 Mama! 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 Ma! 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 Mom! 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 Mommy! Mommy! Mama! 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 What? Hi.
The other big thing, I suppose, for 2025, for those who have been following my journey for a while, you'll know that I've previously worked on campsites and things like that, which I absolutely loved. I do genuinely love the interaction with the campers and things. But what was really limiting me was the ability to do anything over the summer. So typically those jobs were from kind of March right through to the end of September or mid-October-ish, which means your entire summer in the UK is spent working on a campsite. You can't take leave. Typically, they pay you your leave at the end of your contract. So in 2025, the beginning of the year, I decided that, with Sharka having passed, which is the last video I actually posted on the channel, that this year I was going to try and be self-sufficient financially so that I could dictate my route for the year, be able to go and visit mates and go to festivals and that kind of thing. As some will know, I do website design and search engine optimization, consultancy work, etc. But they were very far and few between. There wasn't consistency with that because, again, it's a very competitive market, web design. People don't quite get that web design isn't quite the same as creating a website that works. Anyone these days can pretty much design a website with the tools available, but understanding search engine optimization is a whole different ballgame. And designing a great looking website without the SEO side of things is pretty pointless. However, sadly, as is always the case, money talks, and people will rather opt to pay someone £200 to create them a website that doesn't actually work than £500 or £1,000 for a website that does work. Um, so I needed to find some other way to kind of have a more consistent income, so that I could indeed travel more and go to festivals, etc. So on the 15th, I think it was, of February this year, I had my first iris photography pop up in Trawden in Lancashire. So iris photography is something I saw about 8 years ago or so in Amsterdam. I remember thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. But at the time, that's as far as it went. I was employed. I had my house. Hadn't started this travels at that point, so it never really went further than just admiring what it was. Then last year, beginning of 2024, I think it was, I created a website for someone who was doing iris photography. And during our first kind of scoping or kickoff meeting, he suggested to me, actually, why don't you look into taking this on the road? And kind of ran with the idea. I thought, yeah, that's not a bad shout. It's something I could possibly do. So in February, as I say, I did my first one. My concerns initially when he suggested it to me was, at the time I had Shaka, and I couldn't have left him locked in the van for an entire day while I hosted one of these pop-up sessions. So once Shaka did pass, just just over a year ago now, actually, it's just unbelievable how quickly that's gone. I decided to give it a go. So the first pop-up in Trawden, I booked a 4-hour session, 4 hours of a community hall, and so there was 3 hours dedicated to actually, shooting, taking people's pictures, because there was half an hour for setup and half an hour for packing down. And it sold out. It sold out within about a week and a half of just posting in the local community groups and stuff. So off the back of that, I decided I'd rent the same hall again the week after, again just for 4 hours, half a day, just to see if I repeated that. And yes, it went really well. And I think all but one ticket sold out. So I was very happy with that. And since then, for the year, I don't know the exact stats. I really should look these things up before I create these videos. I would say around 20 to 25 pop-ups I've had, possibly more. They are working really well. The most after those two initial ones, I then typically went to kind of a full day pop-up where I started 10. So the sessions for the clients started 10 through to 4 o'clock. And I've had a lot of success with them. Typically, I think on average, I've got about 30 people coming per pop-up. The most I've had is 65 in a day, and that was just unbelievable. I never, honestly, when I thought of this idea and working out the business plan, etc., I figured that 20 people per session would be ideal. It would cover the things like the campsite fee, the hall fee, the marketing fees for marketing the event, and the fuel to get to these places and stuff. So 20, and then obviously a bit of money left for me to travel and eat and feed myself. So to get 65 people, it just never occurred to me that I could actually get that many in a day, and that I could actually edit that many eyes in a week. But typically, I would say it's between 30 to 40 per pop-up. So it's really working well. It's really giving me that freedom where I can decide my route. There's a lot involved. It is taking up a lot of my time. So again, at the moment, as you can see, I'm sitting in a house. I'm actually house sitting, no pets involved, for just shy of 3 months. So I've actually decided that I need to change something about my current setup. For those who've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that I have my home and motorhome, obviously, um, and then I also acquired a motorcycle and a trailer. Um, and of late, I would say this past year, 2025, it's really starting to get to have literally everything I have with me at all times. Um, I'm yet to do the North Coast 500, for example, because I just know, having spoken to other people who own similar age vans to me, same make and everything, that who have done the NC 500, chatting to them, they've kind of said, look, the van will do it, but they have suggested to me that I lose the bike, the motorbike, and the trailer. Um, and recently, having been on this house sit here, I've been using the van. I've totally emptied the van out. Um, no water in the tanks, etc. And I've been using the van to get to a few of the pop-ups that I've been doing in the area that I'm currently in. And it's so much. It's the stress is so far less. I can't get my words out for some reason. Um, she drives better. She handles better. Fuel economy is better. Power is better. Um, I've driven routes that I drove to get here when I was towing the bike and the trailer. And on some of the hills, I literally had to down gear into first gear to get up. A lot of times into second gear. With the van, without the bike, and not everything I own in it, I'm doing those same hills in fourth or third. So she's got far more power and oomph when she's not fully laden and carrying the bike and everything behind her. So it's that's becoming a bit of a frustration to me at the moment. You know, not being able to just go and do a little road trip and stuff because I've always got everything behind me in the van. Always a bit anxious to leave the van on the side of the road somewhere while I go out for the day because everything I own is in it. Um, so yeah, something in 2026 needs to change. It's still all up in the air at the moment as to what that change is going to be. But I just can't continue like this because it's now starting to cause me some stress. And the whole point of doing what I've done, i.e., selling my house and traveling around, living in the van, and doing pet sitting and stuff, is to not have stress. That was pretty much one of the main reasons, other than traveling and meeting people and seeing things, was just to rid myself of that stress that typically comes with a house and a mortgage and a job and a career and everything else. And for the first 3 years, that pretty much there was no stress. But just of late, as I say, it's just, and maybe it's to do with the fact that I've been in a house for the past month, and it's really not been comfortable being in a house for the last month. I'm really, I just it's not comfortable for me, to be honest. I miss being in Star, my motorhome. I miss. It's just very weird to be in the same place for this period of time. It is winter, however, so there's a very limited stuff to what I can actually do in winter. And this would have been my fifth winter in Star. Um, but I'm in the house, as I say, but it's given me an opportunity to do some work on her while she's stood. But it does feel so weird just not being in the van after all these years. But yeah, something will change. As I say, I'm not entirely sure whether I look somewhere where I can leave the bike and trailer. I have a storage unit. It's a small storage unit because I just don't have a lot of stuff. And to move up from what I have to the next size up, I wouldn't. I would use a quarter of the space, and I'd be paying 4 or 5 times the amount of money every month. So it just seems like such a waste to do that. But if I can find somewhere where I can leave my motorcycle and my trailer at least, it will really kind of free me up to go and do a bit more traveling and stuff, and just maybe somewhere I can leave my bits and bobs. I don't always have to have, like literally, as I say, I've got all my clothes in the van. all the clothes I own are in the van. So my summer clothes, my winter clothes, everything. Ideally, if you've got a motorhome or a camper van and you go out for a few weeks, you pack for those few weeks. You don't literally take your whole entire wardrobe with you and everything you own on that trip. Um, so yeah, that's starting to get to me for of late. So next year we'll look into that. So as I say, either I'm going to look into getting somewhere where I can leave the bike and trailer, or it might be time for me to buy a house, and not not necessarily to stay in, but to have a base where I can leave my stuff and just pack for the routes I'm going to be doing. But then when I'm not traveling and I'm at the house, I can do some. I can offer photo shoots and things I get from the house. Because at the moment, my Iris pop ups, I'm only doing them on weekends because that's just when people are free and available. So it's not ideal again. Every Sunday I'm essentially working when I should be partying or enjoying other people's company who are off on the weekends. So ideally, I don't want to just be earning 1 day a week, and it's hard when you're traveling constantly uh, to earn more than that because as I say, every event involves identifying the town or the village or the city that I'm going to go and do the pop up in. Then I've got to find a campsite near that area. Once I've confirmed and booked a campsite, I then need to find a venue to host the pop up in. So whether it's a community center or a village hall or a local business that wants to collaborate with me. And then once that's secured, then I can actually start the marketing side and creating the web page and the ticketing system and marketing on Facebook and Instagram, etc. So there's a lot of planning that goes involved for each event. Um, so it would be nice to just be able to kind of, when I'm having some downtime or when I'm at the base or the house, um, doing admin type stuff or just taking a break or planning the next road trip, I can actually earn some income there while I'm at the house and just let people know that I'm available for iris photography and things. So yeah, that's kind of where things are at the moment. There's a lot, obviously, to tell you from the past year. I'm not going to cover it all in this video. I just really wanted to let you guys know that I'm still around. I know it's been a long time since I posted. I've said this before in other videos. I really got to get over this thing in my head where because I'm not traveling as much as I'd like to, because I'm not going to foreign countries or abroad, or I feel like I want to post stuff that's going to interest you at the end of the day. And when I'm not doing a whole bunch of stuff, I just feel like it's kind of boring for you lot. Um, but I need to get over that. At the end of the day, you're not living this lifestyle. And if you've chosen to follow this channel, then you're probably curious as to the realities of what van life is like. So I've got to get over that, and I've got to remember that the whole purpose of this channel is to show you the realities, and that it's not always happy days and sunny days. There is a lot of challenges involved, um, and again, these challenges are mine because my circumstances are different to anybody else who does van life. Um, Loneliness, as I've spoken about before in other videos, is still a thing. Um, and especially now that I'm traveling on my own without Chaka, even, it is loneliness there. And the not having a tribe or a community is really starting to get to me, which is another reason why I'm thinking about possibly getting a base. But as I say, the base wouldn't be the end of my van life. It would just be somewhere that makes it a little bit more convenient for me to travel and just have what I need for that trip rather than literally everything I own. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now, guys, because I don't want to ramble on about things. As I said, this was more about just letting you know I'm still here, letting you know that Star is still running. She just passed the MOT a couple of weeks ago again. She failed because the horn wasn't working, which I managed to go and replace the horn and take it back, and she passed. So she's good for another year. I've done various things with her over this year, including installing, taking out the three-way fridge and putting in a new 12-volt compression fridge. And a couple of weeks ago, I installed a diesel heater into her because LPG is getting more and more difficult. But again, each of those will be separate videos that I will post for those who are interested in installing a 12-volt compression fridge or a diesel heater. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to wish you a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. And I hope to see you all back in 2026 if I don't post something before that. Um, but I will do my best to be a little bit more bloody consistent with this posting. Um, we'll see you again soon, guys. Be happy, be safe, be kind. Cheers.